Good afternoon. We're returning to our basic Moodle tour developed for faculty development workshops. We began part one of our tour and Moodle training outline by talking about logging on to Moodle, turning editing on, identifying icons, participating in forums, posting a syllabus, adding an activity, and a resource. Now, in part two, we're going to give attention to Gradebook, attendance, importing previous course material, and sharing your Moodle course with another faculty member. Now, as I go through these, remember this is going to be a tour. The development of some of these learning modules may require some additional skills, and you can get those by consulting one of the trainers or this office. We will be pleased to assist you in developing your course and helping you to get the most out of Moodle. So, without further ado, let's go back to our agenda, beginning with the Gradebook. As a reminder, I'm going to start from the login. And I'm going to go into one of my classes, as we discussed before, by looking at courses available and going under Spring 2012. Some of the things I will show you may require that I move from one course to another, but for the most part, I will try to work within this class where we were working earlier, Religion 499 for Spring 2012. I click the class and I come back into it. This class is developed only in part, but there are enough features to allow us to learn what we would need to learn. We come into the class. We remember the breadcrumbs are showing us what class we're in. Once we're in class, we want to turn editing on. And this will produce a new screen where we can, in fact, edit what is going on. In part one, we learned about the various icons, the editing, the adding of a resource, the working with a forum. Now let's go to the far left and scroll down until we look at administration. On this agenda, we want to look at grades. Grades will appear under administration for students and for faculty. So click Grades. I'm now redirected into the Gradebook and Grader Report. As I mentioned, I'm trying to show you basic features in these tours. These gradebooks are very sensitive instruments and very useful tools that can be used to your advantage. I want us to look at a few of the features here as we go through looking at a gradebook. This turn editing button on the far right is strictly for the gradebook. If you are inputting manual grades, you will use this turn editing on, and it will create the ability to input grades manually. We're under the Grader Report, this middle tab, and we want to look now at categories and items. Now this actually puts us into the Gradebook. This is what a student would see if they come into the class. Again, for training purposes today, all that I can do is point out a few features. The name of the gradebook entry, the aggregation, that is how it is weighted. If it is extra credit, maximum grade for the entry, actions, and selection are all here. If you are changing any of this, you will do it using this page, and for the moment I want to simply call attention to these things. You can add a category that could be papers, quizzes, forums. When you add that, if you use it correctly, you can then weight papers. Let's say you have 10 papers, 10 points each, but you only want 20 points for the category. You do it by using categories. You add the items under the category. I want to go to View. This brings us back to the Grader Report. And now I'm going to go under these tabs to User Report and click that. This user report is very helpful for each instructor as they want to review grades, because this will allow you to choose all or choose an individual user. Mine says 0 because I have no students loaded into this class for grades. If you have students, their names will appear here, and you can select each one to review their individual grades from this point. Again, I'm showing you only a few features on the Gradebook. Let's go back to the class. The next thing on our agenda is attendance. I already have an attendance module loaded into this class. We can see it here on the open area right below the weekly outline designator. Adding an attendance module is very simple. It is something the students will do, and it's found under Activity. Using the scroll down menu, you would select Attendance. Again, we're only trying to tour this. You can set the grade at whatever level you want for attendance, and you save and display the attendance. Now, when you save and display an attendance, I'm going to go back into the class, and I'm going to open up the attendance that's already created. Here's what you'll find. Sessions, Add, Report, Export, Settings. You must begin by adding sessions. And if we're going to take attendance, we create multiple sessions. Click that, and then designate, say, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday as the days you will have the sessions. You want a start date you want an end date. So I'm going to end this very quickly because we want to do it for demonstration purposes. So I'm going to say this training and class runs from the 25th today until the 6th of the next month. I add the sessions, and now I can look at the sessions under sessions, and here they are. By clicking the red, well, the green, the red will delete. This will edit the little tablet. The green will take your attendance. By clicking the green light, you're going to have a list of students displayed. For each you can score the status present, late, excused, and absent. Again, you're not seeing them here because there are no students currently in this class. I mentioned I might need to move between classes to show you an example. I'm going to move to a different training module for a moment. And there I'm going to look at an attendance to see what it looks like. And I'm going to click regular class session. And here you can see that we have the scored according to present or absent, late or excused. I'm moving quickly back to the class where I was so we can continue with our training. One of the things that you will want to do is to keep on file your class, and that can easily be done. And we do it again under administration by going to backup. But before I back up this class, let's talk about bringing something in from another class, and that would be import. Click Import under Administration. You will need to have taught other classes, or you'll need to have authorization to get resources from another class. On courses I have taught, I have a number of classes listed. At the top is Template Course 101. If I use Template and click that, all of these things that are in Template will transfer over if I continue with the series of commands until the end. I'm going to select out just one item. Let's say I'm going to select out the quiz to import today for training purposes. I've removed everything else. And to let you see how this process works, I continue, I continue, I continue, and I continue. I continue once again, and now I'm back at the class 499, and here's my import. You can see it here. It came over from the template. Now let's go to the backup. I'm looking on the far left under Administration and Backup. I click Backup. All of the items that are already in the class will be identified, and we're going to back them all up. I'm not accepting any of them, so I continue. I scroll down and I continue, just as I was doing the import, I continue. The system is reading and determining what will come through on the backup. I continue. You will know you're successful when you come to Files, and you see in the Files a backup. You'll be having the identification of today. Now, how do I move this from my files to another teacher? Well, again, we need to think about moving files back and forth. So I'm going to click this file itself. This is going to redirect me, and so I can open, I can save, or I can cancel. So I'm going to save it. Of course, it's going to ask me where, so I'm going to say desktop for the moment. And I have it here saved. And that backup will appear now on my desktop as a zip file. If I want to send this to a teacher, I'm going to minimize this, my desktop items. I'm going to find this on my desktop. It is right here. I go to this icon. I do a right click and I do a send to, and if I want to email it, I send to mail recipient and decide who you want to be the receiver. That's all there is to it. So let's see if we can go back to our class. We made the backup. The backup will stay in the files, and I encourage you to make some backups as you go. You may want them. So let's go back using the breadcrumbs to our class. We've been touring class. One last thing I want to call to your attention, and I like to use this at the very beginning of class. That's settings. Under administration on the far left is the settings button. And it's using this settings button that I can format the class to weeks or to topics. Weeks or topics. This is very important to me because I want to have students following either a weekly format or topic, and that will allow them to keep up with what I'm doing. So you change that by the format setting under settings in administration. Let's go back to the class using the breadcrumbs. In this second part, video, tour, these are the things we have talked about. We came into the class, we turned the editing on, we reminded ourselves of a few of the basic features. Then we talked about Gradebook, and we took a quick tour. We didn't focus on how to set it up, just a tour. Then we talked about attendance. Again, we're taking a tour. We didn't go into all the particulars. We know we have to set our sessions. After we looked at that, we moved on to talking about the work of import and the work of backup. Both of those very important. A last observation as we leave this tour, the last observation is that when we have our editing turned on, there will appear in the class a blocks menu. You will want to use this blocks menu to develop the class itself. There are a number of modules that you can add using blocks. Just to give you some imaginative ideas, you can add a calendar, course message, an application from Google's help desk contact. A couple of things I like are online users, reports, and you can have ungraded assignments. With that, we come to the end of our agenda for a basic tour for faculty of Moodle. We hope you've enjoyed this. There's much more to learn, and we encourage you to work with Moodle. We encourage you to contact other teachers and trainers who are available to assist you. Enjoy it. Use it to your advantage in class. We wish you the very best for faculty development. Have a good day.